Hi, this is Lisa Tenner, and I am so thrilled to have with me today Morgana Rae. Morgana is an international #1 best-selling author and a seven-figure spiritual life and business coach for 29 years. She's a favorite guest on TV, radio, and print. And Morgana's guided tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, innovators, authors, healers, humanitarians to heal the rift between heart, spirit, and money to save the world as only they can. And I speak from personal experience. Morgana transformed my relationship with money. And I was doing something I love, but not able to figure out how to really earn a living through that. And I was really struggling when I met Morgana. It was on a big conference with a lot of really world-changing leaders sharing what they knew. And I was immediately riveted by the work Morgana was doing. We're going to talk about one of these favorite things that in a minute, but I knew immediately I had to work with this woman, and she became my personal business and money coach. And it is a big reason I'm here today and as successful as I am, and also as fulfilled as I am. And it's made the really changing my relationship with money has made the work sustainable and enjoyable and fulfilling in a way that it couldn't be if I was still struggling. So first of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart, Morgana, for changing my life. And I hope that some of our listeners today will find their lives changing as they hear you speak.
Well, that is 100% my intention. Every time I speak. And I know that there are a lot of speakers and teachers of speakers out in the personal or whatever world we're talking about who are always saying teach the what but not the how, like be very possessive of your helpful information, keep that hidden away so people pay for it. And in my experience, the more I give away and the more people have success from the free stuff, the better quality of clients trickle up to me anyway. Because for one thing, there's nothing more fun in the world than getting on the phone with somebody who's saying, hey, your shit works for me. Yay. No sales required. So for me, I'm just so thrilled and tickled to reconnect with you. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
I do too. I do too. And so first thing I want you to talk about is the money monster and the money honey, because when you taught about that on that first call, and then we worked with it, you really helped me. I don't know what we did, but we got rid of that money monster, and that was in itself transformative. And then I got to learn about my money honey and really get hot and heavy with him. And that really transformed things. So can you talk about these two very different energies in our lives?
Sure. And it's also evolved so much because it was a really long time ago that you and I worked
It
together.
was.
So first of all, it came out of my really stunning and spectacular failure at everybody else's stuff. So I got good grades from a top college. So what? I had half a dozen certifications in coaching, mountains of celebrity testimonials, really sweet, dialed in marketing, public speaking, taglines, brochures, all of it. So what? At my low point with everything in the world going for me, I was struggling to make $100 a month in Los Angeles, one of the most expensive cities in the world. So absolutely, I was living on debt. And not only was I not making money and people wanted to hire me, but it was like I had this superpower of money repulsion. I would get so uncomfortable when people would ask me what I charged. I was so terrified of causing harm and hurting anybody because it's so much more fun to help.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meanwhile, I can't pay cable, much less rent, gas, medicine, food, life. And I'm still flying out of town twice a month to take more classes, thinking, oh my God, if I get this certification, then I'll be worthy of getting paid. And no, nothing changed. And I live in LA, so I'm taking all the business classes, all the marketing classes, all the sales classes, getting all the certifications, either in LA or elsewhere. And I also have access to sort of like the world's nexus of woo. So I've got my vision boards and I have my mindsets and my mantras, and I've got the friends who wave their hands and blow in my face and change my money DNA. And I'm still making $100 a month. And I have a coach and I'm still making $100 a month. And what happened for me was I had that final straw. I had taken this class in overcoming sales objections where I learned the magical words to turn the no into the yes. Great marketing copy, total bullshit. Pardon my language. I love to curse. Where I learned the scripts for what to say when somebody says, oh, I'd love to, but I can't afford you, or I don't have time, or whatever, right? There are all these like formulas for what to say. And I'm such a good student that I use these magic formulas 7 times in a row. I overcame somebody's objection and I got them to say, yes, wow. And 7 people in a row didn't show up, didn't pay me a dime. And that was, it was like, you universe, I've had enough. I don't even see any point of being here. Like, I'm already in my 30s. And I'm not living like a grown-up. And I know what I'm here to do. And I'm really good at it. And I can't make a living. What is the point? It felt like just the cruelest, sadistic universe joke.
I'm getting chills as you say it. Yeah.
Universe hated me. I hated universe back. I didn't want to be alive.
Wow.
That is really the how deep this goes existentially. What I have learned from coaching tens of thousands of clients is it's not even really about the money ever. Like, money is important, but money is important because it is a reflection of love and worth and safety and power. It is a mirror. I'm just going to
close the door because I'm on a recording. Sorry, I knew that would happen, but she doesn't like the door closed when she's in here. So now we're good.
Who does? Who does? So,
yeah.
All of our deepest pains of being a human being, like the soft white underbelly of human existence, all of our wounds and injuries and uncertainties about anything that ever made us feel unlovable, unworthy, unsafe, powerless, shows up in our relationship with money. And there was a time long ago when I thought that it only showed up as financial scarcity. Ha ha, not true. Yeah. I have coached the clients who are couch surfing and on public assistance. I've also coached billionaires who are afraid of losing what they have, or they're afraid that their money has ruined their relationships or made them targets, all of which was true. So this experience of this monster, this embodiment of everything that has ever made us feel unlovable, unworthy, unsafe, or powerless shows up in our relationship with money. And so nothing I did worked while I was still talking about money. Like, I've had that list of negative money beliefs and positive money beliefs and affirmations and change your money story, change your life. Again, great marketing, total bullshit. Because money is just this, like, invented metaphor human beings made up so that we can pretend that one purse is worth $5 and another purse is worth 5,000, but they're both bags. Because, we love to measure value as human beings. So I had that, I don't want to play anymore. I want to take my ball and leave planet Earth experience. And it was really bad. Like I can be high energy now, but ugh,
Yeah.
dangerous, devastating place, hopeless.
Wow.
And I had a session with my coach right after. Again, I'm struggling to make $100 a month, and I have a coach. It's crazy, but it saved my life. And this is a guy I'd been coaching with for months. We actually graduated from coaching school the same day, but he had a business and I not so much. So I would do everything he would tell me to do, and nothing would happen. Not his fault. But on this particular occasion where I'm in this horrible funk, nothing works. I've done it all. It's hopeless. Ugh. He asked me this wild and weird, out of the blue question that changed my life. He said to me, if your money was a person, who would your money be? And because I was in that moment in such a state of despair and rage and anxiety and hopelessness already, instantly I saw a person. And this person was my money. And I never knew that this person was my money. It was an imaginary biker, big, scary, dirty, violent guy. Bikers are fine. Any biker watching, I love you. Bikers are great. This one was evil. And it was all pointed at me. There was just something very dangerous and malevolent about him. And I could feel it. And I could feel my whole body recoil. And I could also be aware of myself, hyper vigilant. If I were at like a live event, I would have my eye on him constantly to create maximum distance.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my aha moment. Here I am, super daughter, getting the straight A's, getting the certifications, doing everything I'm supposed to do, and seeing no results. And it didn't matter how much effort I put in. By the way, I was taking classes at this point that were telling me to do what I was already doing. So I was already circling. It didn't matter because every cell in my being knew that the job of protecting me was to keep distance from money.
Mm-hmm.
Dirty, violent, caused fights, dangerous, all sorts of really painful stuff. And this may sound weird. Come on, you're writers. How can anything sound weird? But you understand that to the subconscious, this is very real.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say to you that if you find yourself, and I suspect we have a ton of high achievers here, if you find yourself doing everything you're supposed to be doing and you aren't getting the results that you desire and deserve, it is my experience on the other side of coaching tens of thousands of people that you are probably protecting yourself from the very thing you're pursuing. And you also have very good, very valid reasons that you are completely unaware of. Because if you were aware of them, you would have fixed it already. So go ahead.
Yeah, and that's where your book comes in. And congratulations on the 10th anniversary of Financial Alchemy, 12 Months of Magic and Manifestation. And in that book, you help people really uncover, yeah, it's beautiful.
Author's copy, not for resale.
I love the new cover though. But in that book, you really, and it's really a program, it's a 12-month program. You are going to help people really understand the personification of their money. They're going to find their money monster. And then it's a job of firing that money monster, conquering that money monster, and really getting clear about what your money honey is.
You cannot skip to the money honey.
Yeah.
I wish you could. I tried it out with a client, didn't work. We had to backtrack. It's the bed's not big enough for all three of you.
That's great.
I can be so much cruder about that, but anyway, A lot has evolved since I coached you. I have had so many more clients make millions and tens of millions of dollars. So I've really every client brings a new challenge. So I've dialed it in. That's actually why I came out with the 10-year anniversary copy, is because
Mm-hmm.
I have, I believe, 90 reviews on Amazon, tons and tons of 5-star reviews, all these crazy stories of manifestation from people I had never met. Some of them went on to hire me later.
Mm-hmm.
And then stuff that didn't show up on Amazon, like a woman who from Florida who had her first $250,000 sales month using my book alone. And she was on her second year using the book alone before she hired me, before I knew she existed. In
Mm-hmm.
the year that I coached her, she bought the company that she was making the sales for. So now she's the big
Wow.
multi-million-dollar boss lady. So it was a great book as it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you'll understand this. First of all, the cover didn't look like me anymore. I'm like older, fatter, blonder. And
And
inside,
still very beautiful.
I'm happy. I'm happy to be older, fatter, blonder. I'm still here. Uh, and the stuff that I said inside, there's some stuff that was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Things that I say now that weren't there. A bigger,
Mm-hmm.
bigger emphasis on more than just the money, and really the tweaks that I've made that have, in my experience, created much bigger results over the last 10 years. So I was starting to get a little bit of old book embarrassment. And a 10-year anniversary was a great opportunity to update the book to be what I want it to be now and add more goodies.
And, that's such an important thing, I think, to point out to the people that are going to be listening to this who are authors or are aspiring authors, is one of the great things about self-publishing is that you can update it as much as you want, anytime you want. If you decide, gee, I've changed my mind about this thing I say in the book and now I'm embarrassed about it, you can fix it really easily. And when you're with a traditional publisher, you can't. So, I came out with the Joy of Writing Journal in September 2021. And then the next February, we came out with the expanded edition. Is that right? Yeah. We came out with, no, the next, no, it was about a year later. Not quite a year later, we came out with the expanded edition. So you can make changes as quickly or as slowly as you want, but as your ideas change, you can update it, and that's a big deal, I think, for a lot of authors who, your ideas get more nuanced the more you do something, and you may not want to wait for a publisher to say, yes, we've sold enough copies, we're going to do a second edition. That could take a long time or never. So I'm glad you brought that up, and that kind of brings us to the question of self-publishing. And why did you originally decide to self-publish, or what have been some of the gifts of self-publishing to you?
Well, oh my God. Okay, this is funny and embarrassing. So, in 2012, I found myself with the world's top literary agent for personal development authors, the Marie Kondos and the Marie Kondo, Eckhart Tolle, Ariel Ford, everybody. And he wanted me to write a book proposal. And I forgot that you and I had created one. So I thought I had to do it by myself. And I got so frightened at the prospect of it that I thought nobody would notice that I was procrastinating on writing a book proposal if I took the book that I've been publishing at Office Max for the last 5 years and just quietly tried a book launch and became a best-selling author. Nobody would notice I was procrastinating. And that was my motivation for my 2013 book launch. And it was so much fun. I hired the right person, and the marketing, oh my God, I'm growing my list. I'm getting to talk about my work, and I'm able to, and all the things that we did. I'd had like a virtual book tour on blogs, and I was on a radio show every day or a TV show or a magazine every day. And what else did we do? We had a 3-day sort of roundtable summit. Like right now I hear the word summit and I want to choke and puke. And I'm sorry that we still have that language, because I've been doing summits since 2007. And the whole model of like 20 days of hour-long interviews is just so boring. So instead, what we do is I just pick 3 like superstars, and I have a hour-long conversation with a panel of 3 each day for 3 days. And the first day is the topic of money, the second day is the topic of love, and the third day is the topic of magic. And I'm getting inspired by these brilliant people that I know who know some stuff I don't know, and some people who disagree, and it's just so much more dynamic. So anyway, I digress. I am a digressor.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's take a step back too, because when I first saw Financial Alchemy, that was before 2012, I think, and that was when you were just using it. You were selling it from your website. I think it was a PDF, right? Does that sound right?
Never ever a PDF.
Okay.
I have.
Oh, it was a spiral bound.
Right.
Maybe, right? It was spiral bound.
It was me going to Office Max and printing on a piece of their specialty paper with a little like Alchemy pestle on the front that I think was created for, I was in a magazine in 2015, and they created this great little like artwork of an alchemy with some colored coins in it. So I asked them if I could use it. So I put that on the cover of my book, the scroll specialty paper that anybody can get at any Office Max or FedEx or Kinko's or whatever. And I would go there and I would print spiral bound all these damn books that were at the time $20 a pop to print. Now I think it's like $50 a pop to print.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I would stand in line at the post office to mail them. Or I would be a live speaker and I'd be traveling the world and I'd have a suitcase full. I'd go to Oslo, Norway with this heavy suitcase half filled with these damn spiral bound notebooks. It's a place to start. And it proved the premise of the book. But in 2012, I had an agent who I was hiding from. So I thought, what a great excuse to have a book launch and publish it for real so that I can hide my real agenda, which is to avoid writing a new book proposal. And it went to #1 mover shaker of all categories in the US, #1 in the UK, #1 in Canada, #1 in Germany, even though it's English language only, #2 in Italy, and #3 in France.
That is so fantastic.
And then #1 in Australia a couple of years later when I was on Coast to Coast Radio. So, and I got to keep all the money.
Yeah, which is really nice. I mean, one thing I found, and we were talking about before the interview, is that if I had traditionally published with this book, I really probably couldn't afford to do Amazon ads. It wouldn't make a lot of sense because you're making less than $1 per book. But when your profit margin is more like $8 a book, you can afford to put that money towards the Amazon ads. And you know, they kind of break even, or if you're hiring somebody to help you, you might not even quite break even a lot of the time, but it's really great for building your business. And when you look at the business it brings in, of course, it's way more than breaking even. So, you know, as you and I know, and many of our listeners know, it's not about the book sales, it's what the book's going to do for your offerings in the bigger picture, and of course for your income too. You want the book to be a sustainable thing, but if it's helping bring in speaking gigs and coaching clients and things like that, that's really transformative. And at the same time, you're helping all these additional people that you wouldn't necessarily reach with your other programs who can afford a book but not much more.
Well, that's it. The first time I published it was in and this is probably where you wanted me to start, was in 2006. And I had just found out that a bunch of my friends had speaking gigs at the Conscious Life Expo. And I instantly went into poor me envy mode, which by the way is one of my best secrets of manifestation. I go
Mhm.
into, but I want a speaking gig in a booth at the Conscious Life Expo. And within 24 hours, I got a phone call from my publicist saying, you have a speaking gig and a free booth at the Conscious Life Expo by the front door, right?
Oh, wow.
So
Fantastic. Yeah,
I've
you
done
are
this.
a manifester, no
I
question.
am my
You walk
next
the
book will be
talk.
the art of manifesting through whining. Um, so like is frequently the case in my life, it's like, yay, I got what I wanted. Oh heck, I got what I wanted, but stronger language. Because I realized I'm going to be speaking towards this, really great, perfect, big audience, and all I have to sell is me, which is kind of creepy, proposing marriage on the first date. I don't even, that's way too big a leap. And I needed something. I needed something else that they could take me home with them without taking me home with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been playing with this notion of writing a book for a few years. And I had, especially around a manifestation system that I used myself daily, and I was just exceeding all of my goals. After
Mm-hmm.
years and years and years of falling short, I was suddenly like overachieving. And I had created this little self coaching manifestation system for myself. So, what I did, the first one was I started with a chapter about my financial alchemy process as it was in 2006, the horse and buggy days. And then I added some more stuff about maintaining the relationship and other stuff that I thought would be useful. And then I slapped it in with my manifestation system, and I sold it for the first time in 2006. And then I just kept tweaking it and expanding it. And then really dove into making it a grown up book for the 2013 launch. Um, 2006, we didn't have self-publishing like that. Now
Yeah.
it's way more available, way cheaper to
Yeah.
just
And
a
so
lot
much less
easier.
work because Amazon's going to deliver those books and you don't have to even think about it.
And now they do it in other languages. Nobody told me. People have been begging me to sell my book in Spanish. And I was like, I don't know any I don't know any translators for that.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think you just press a button and the AI will hopefully not ruin it.
Wow. I didn't realize that. That's very exciting. That's very cool. So, one of the things that I thought, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but just quickly is, from at a time when not many people thought this way, 2006, you had this idea of, I'm going to sell this book based on the value I'm giving people. I'm giving people a year-long program that's going to transform their lives. And if they do it, it's going to bring in tons of money. So, I'm not charging $20 for this. I'm charging, it was like 97, something like that, I think.
I charge 40. I've
40.
always
Oh, okay.
in the
Which to me at
beginning,
that time was like $97 because $40 was so much when I hired you, which, which is part of saying, wow, look how far I've come after working with you. But, and the difference it made. But yeah, so it was $40, but which also is a really different mind shift because I think in the book world, there's such a closed mind about, well, you have to charge as little as possible. And I remember being told, well, for your book launch, you can't charge $20 for your book. You need to be charging under 10 so that you can be a bestseller. And
I charged 40 and I was a bestseller. If people want it and they see the value,
mm-hmm.
they get it. I I added gifts with purchase, which is not new or unique to me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I made sure that, and especially this year, I make sure that I know everybody and I approve the gift so that it's right for my people. And then I also have what I think is probably the most valuable to my customers is a little over a month after they purchase the book. So the book launch is January 23rd, February 28th. I have a live Q&A laser coaching with all my buyers. And so they have time to get the book. and they have time to start the process, and they have time to get stuck if they're going to get stuck. And I'm best when people come to it with a problem. That's my on switch.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is an opportunity to actually get coaching by me, because I know whatever I coach this person on is going to help everybody else. And then I get to use that recording forever for people who buy my book. If they know about it, like they can buy it on Amazon and not know that this exists. But if they see me if they come to my website or they see me on a podcast or something, I'll tell them, go to my website, go to the book page, enter your name, email address, and receipt number, and you will get this Q&A recording. Because human beings are infinitely resourceful at coming up with obstacles that I've never seen before or imagined 30 years into this, right? And I think it was 10 years ago, but I'm not exactly sure because I haven't listened to it in a long time. One of the women came and said, could her money honey, the money honey is the opposite of the monster. Once you slay and eradicate the monster, all that exists is money. So this new relationship feels like love and is hot and into you, but safe and worships you, basically. So she wanted to know if her money honey could be a werewolf. So I asked, does he love you? Do you like him? Okay, you can have a werewolf.
Oh, that's so funny. Very creative of the person. So you've talked a little bit about the promotion that you're doing. You're offering something free, really giving people incentive to sign up and a chance to really see you in action, which for me, that was my first introduction to you as well. And I got something out of the exercise you took somebody through on that initial call. How do you sign up? You have a blog tour, of which I'm part of, and then you have the summit. Yeah, I'm so excited. And the summit. And, how did you get people signing up? I know I was probably an outlier because I reached out to you, said, oh my gosh, you're doing a 10th anniversary edition. I want to interview you and share the amazing work you do with my people because everybody needs this. And so, but that probably was unusual. How did you?
I was so grateful for that, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. I reached out to people I know. I reached out to people who supported me 10 years ago. If their email addresses were like still active. So I have some people who played with me 10 years ago and now we get to play again, which is super cool. I reached out to former clients, are the best. They want to talk about me. Let's see, friends who I want to show off and this is really, really important. So in the years that I've been a coach, which is closing in on 30 now, I've seen like this arc of marketing where there was a time where there was a thing called a joint venture where you and I might come together and create something together and then we sell it together and it's a real joint venture. And then that terminology sort of got corrupted to mean, hey, everybody in the world, mail up for my thing. And maybe if I'm really good at selling, you might get something back. And I hate that. So what I wanted to do, and I learned this from my first launch, and the person I hired from my first launch is I'd supported a bunch of her launches and I loved the way she did it, that I wanted to play with her on my own, is I want my people to know about Lisa Tenner. When this goes live, I'm going to be social media-ing it all over the place. I'm going to be dropping a note in to the people who've subscribed to find out about the book launch. You're going to be prominent on my gift. After you buy Financial Alchemy, opt into Lisa Tenner's gift to grow Lisa's gift. So I really want everyone who participates to also be benefiting, growing your list, growing your profile, growing and credibility by association, so
Mm-hmm.
that it's not a one-way thing. And people are more inclined to say yes to that. I don't ask anybody uh, to kill their mailing list.
Right. I noticed that actually because you know, I was just thinking, well, we'll do our usual thing for one of our author spotlights. And then you said, oh, you can be part of this bigger thing, this blog tour. And you know, a lot of times it's like, well, you have to send 3 emails for this. And you know, it are things that kind of aren't always respectful of a person's community. And I loved that it was so clear that you respect not just the people who are playing with you, but also their whole community, and understanding that, you know, you want this to be something that's organic and really giving value. And I'm finding this in the interview too. I know this is going to be so valuable to my people, so I'm super excited to be sharing it. Do you have any last bits of advice for somebody who's going to launch their first book or maybe relaunch a book? But you know, what are some things to keep in, one or two things to really keep in mind when you're launching a book to be successful in your launch?
Well, the reason I do the launch is a launch is a great excuse to preach your message to the world. So that has to be the first thing, is learn to love marketing. Marketing is not selling or telling anybody they have to buy anything. It is it's a thing of love and generosity to just say, to get on your platform for the experience that you want to create in the world. So start there, is just really, generosity to you're not trying to get something from the people you're marketing to. Be really, really generous with your partners, especially when it's a book launch. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if your business is a model where you have one launch a year and your livelihood is all on that, that's a lot of pressure. That's a different game. A book is a long game. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
disappear as soon as the launch is over. So build the momentum, use the launch as an excuse to have a party. And then I think the biggest mistake I made last time was, after several months or maybe a year, I stopped recycling my promotional posts for my book, because you create all these great assets to just keep bringing more people into your book and giving value. Um, if you approach it from a place of loving the process, loving spreading the word, loving the marketing part, to the point that you kind of forget about the launch itself. I swear it didn't even occur to me until the morning of January 23rd, 2013, that, oh, right, I'm supposed to try to become a best-selling author. I'm supposed to go to number one. It was not even a concern of mine until that morning. I hope it works, basically. And then it did. Again, with this book launch, totally different time. I have no idea how it's going to be. I'm already a best-selling author a lot of times over, so I don't really need it for that. So I just have to love the process, give as much as I can to as many people as I can, and then let's see what happens on January 23rd. Make it a party.
I love that it's so fun and engaging. And I think when we have a vision but we let go of the outcome, that's when the magic happens, right? And you are queen of magic, so thank
Oh,
you. Yeah. Oh yeah, let's talk about the launch, the book
well,
and the summit. So
but
yeah.
there's
Oh,
also
more.
terrible guest here, but you had brought
No.
up the difference between self-publishing and publishing for real. So I still have that great,
Wait. Self-publishing and traditional publishing, they're both
right.
real.
They are both real. Okay. Sorry.
Having done both,
Cancel,
they're both
cancel. Yeah, well,
super
yeah.
real.
Look, I've made like $160,000 out of my self-published book.
And that's
that's
just
really
on
nice.
book sales. That's not
That's
on all the business
that
it
has
brought in.
nothing to do with hundreds of thousands of dollars of people who've gone on my retreat or hired me privately or any of that kind of stuff. Millions of dollars now. So I still have the fancy agent. But when it came down to it, there was no way that I could get my book published in time for my 10-year anniversary date. So that's why I decided to publish independently again, because I am a control freak. I have you may have noticed I have a very specific way of talking. I'm not I'm not a law of attraction coach, and people, marketers, copywriters really try so hard to make me a law of attraction coach, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I have to have control over how my book is represented.
Yes, yes. And that's such an important thing to be aware of. If you need that kind of control over your message, self-publishing is the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question. So tell us about the book and when it officially launches, when we can get it on pre-sale, or what day do you want us to buy it specifically? Because
please buy it on January 23rd. What I found out is you cannot pre-purchase a book on Amazon if it's not an ebook. Horrible things that I found out. So if I'd known this earlier, and the people that I hired who do this as their livelihood didn't know this. So if you want to have a pre-sale, you need to have it set up somewhere else, like Lightning Source. I highly recommend, but you need to have it locked and loaded and perfect at least 6 weeks ahead of time to populate in Amazon, so that's not what's happening here. So it will be available on January 23rd. That is the official launch date. The hope is that the most people will buy it that day. And then you come back. I will mail out the day before and that morning. Today is the day, January 23rd. Then come back to this page, give me your name, email address, and your receipt number, and get all these goodies. And then we get our Q&A call in a month. So that's the way I've designed my launch. So the stuff I was talking about before with blogs and summits and all that, that is more to just like grow the list ahead of time. Whether people buy or not, there's just so much value in having the opportunity to communicate and contribute and build a relationship over time, whether they buy or not. Then the day of the launch is buy day, and then everything after that is reward, reward, reward. So January 23rd on Amazon, whatever country you're in the world.
And this book can change your life. And, speaking with you again about it, I thought, I'd be crazy not to buy it again and use it this year, because I'm so excited to think, oh yeah, it's time to come back to this and use the system again. I'm very excited. So thank you so much for taking this time to speak with us. It's so thrilling to be part of your launch, knowing what it can do for people, knowing what this work and this book, Financial Alchemy, can do for people. So thank you so much, Morgana. Best of luck.
Mwah.
And mwah to everybody out there too.